Yeah, I back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Pratik.
Okay.
So you're clear. I'll move on.
This one, I think I
Yeah.
just missed out. Which
Yeah.
one? This part? I think last was discussing on the currency part. Arun?
Yeah. So you had some question. I missed. I mean, the session, and can you repeat one?
No. I said that the currency one, just last one I heard. This is a new one, I think. Currency part we completed, I believe.
Yeah, correct.
Means where I lost you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fine then. So we will move to calendar part then.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Fine. So yeah. So calendar, as I said, so we will have to create it in such a way that we will give. Just give me one. Yeah. To have the calendar defined, so it is accounting calendar that first we will create. So okay. So this is how this screen will look like. So where we will have option to select either this is an normal calendar or this is the budget calendar. Okay, so we have two things. So if it is budget calendar, so system will give the different screen, and if it is normal accounting calendar, so system will give the different thing. Okay, so here if you see, so these are just naming convention and the start date. So based on the start date and the period frequency that we are giving, so based on that, system will generate the dates for us itself. Okay. So now we have the format that we can select. So there are different formats that we can select. So this, if you see, month and year, and similarly we have different formats like the quarterly, yearly, all those formats are there. Okay. And then we have the adjusting period, like the period closure activity. If we want to do once at a year, so we have this option. Or every month we want to have our quarterly or half yearly. So appropriately we can select the adjusting period frequency. So after clicking that, so system will start from here. That is period name it will give, and the start date and end date. So all these things system will create by itself. Okay, so this is the first setup. So once we have created this first year, so let's say we wanted to migrate for 3 years, and we have created the first year. And after creating it, so once we save this, so probably that screenshot I do not have. So here we have a button called create it for next year. So system will create automatically for the next year. So all we have to do is single click. So system will create automatically the calendar for us.
Okay.
Okay. So after the calendar, we
Arun,
have
if we
yeah.
we click on budgetary control, which screen it will show?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
You said something like if you click on budgetary control, it will
Yeah.
open a
Budgetary control.
different page, right?
Yeah, yes. So budgetary control, if I enable this option, so system will consider this as an budget calendar. So this budget calendar will be used when I'm creating a budget. So we have budget option here in Fusion as well. So if I want to create a calendar, so I cannot utilize this accounting calendar there as well. So I'll create a separate calendar as an budgetary control
Okay.
specific.
We won't get these options.
Yeah,
You are
correct.
saying.
So this option called period name format, these things will not be there. So instead,
Okay.
I'll give only these options, that is name, start date, frequency, and I'll enable this option and I'll click next. So that is the difference.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, calendar is fine, right? Or any question?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. So we'll move on to chart of accounts. Okay. So chart of accounts, basically we have segments and we have value sets. So probably I'll try to explain in Excel and then probably I'll show here in this sheet. Okay. So here what we have is that we have a structure and then we have a segment and then we have a value set and then we have values. So when we are doing transaction, so that is I'm entering a journal entry, so I have these values selected. So now these are the values that I have it here. So this is my final this thing. So apart from that, I have qualifiers as well. So how do I determine is that structure is nothing but it is kind of an skeleton that how I wanted to have my way of accounting or recording the transaction particularly. So that we call it as a structure. So the next breakup that I have is that segment. So segment can be 4 segment, 8 segment or anything. So there is a rule that we must have at least 2 segments. So that is either, we should have a balancing segment and the natural account. So balancing is nothing but the company and natural account we'll use it for account. So I'll talk about it a bit later, the qualifiers for. Okay. So the second layer that I have is that segment. So segment can be two maximum, minimum 2 and maximum 30 I can have it. Okay. So this will give me a meaning whether this is a company or this is an department value that I'm loading or this is an intercompany that I'm loading. Okay, so this will give this meaning. And then I have something called value set. So this value set is kind of a validation where it will tell me that how I can add the values. Whether I can add the values just as an 0, 1, 0, 2, whatever I wish to add, or there is a certain validation that I should enter the data only in this particular format. So that is called as a value set. So the finally the values are nothing but 0, 1 or 4, 5, 8, 9. So that we call it as an values. Okay. So now we have certain qualifiers at 2 levels. So one is at segment and other one is at values. So at segment we have something called balancing segment and then we have natural account. Okay. And then we have intercompany. And so one thing that is new in Fusion is that we have 3 level of balancing segment. That is, we have primary balancing segment, we have secondary balancing segment, and we have third balancing segment. So the reason why we have these many, so basically balancing segment is nothing but it is an segment wherein the debit and credit should be equal. So unless it is equal, system will not allow us to post this particular entry. So that is meaning. So now here we have a primary balancing segment, secondary. So when we will have or when will we use the primary and the secondary balancing segment is that when I use the intercompany transaction, so normally we have intercompany transaction that is inside the particular ledger. So across the ledger, we call it as an AGS, Advanced Global Intercompany System, wherein we might need the secondary balancing system. So that is when we will use the secondary balancing segment. Usually we will use the primary balancing segment. Okay. And the natural account is nothing but it is to define that whether this is an asset account or liability account or this is an revenue account. So it is basically the definition how I should treat this account. Okay, so that is the meaning of this particular segment called account. And then I have something called cost center. Okay. So cost center is nothing but my department. So when do I use this is that when I have asset module, fixed asset module implemented in the application. So I will need this particular qualifier. Okay. So when I want to transfer between the department, I'll use this particular option to transfer between them. And then I have the intercompany. So so basically intercompany is nothing but let's say I have one ledger, okay, and then I have LE1 and LE2. Okay. So this intercompany transaction is nothing but transacting between the companies, but inside the parent company. Which means, let's say my business is into retail. Okay. So inside, so let's say I have a retail business and I have a construction business. So now I'm talking about only the retail business. So for retail, I have created one ledger, and under one ledger, I have created two legal entities. So I have legal entity under legal entity one, I have BSP one and BSP two. So now if I do transaction between these two, that is I'm trying to purchase or transfer, something is happening. So this we call it as an intra-company transaction. So intercompany is something that I'm doing between BSP one of LE1 and LE2. Okay, so this is what we call it as an intercompany. So for that, we are using this particular segment called intercompany. Okay. So this qualifies whatever we are mentioning it here. So this defines basically. So how do we want to basically structure our accounting or capturing the information? So that's all about it. So now, if I misplace the qualifier, so it will have impact. So always when we are defining the chart of account, so we should make sure that basically this is in line with the structure that we decided. Okay. And then the last qualifier for the values that I have is that whether I can allow posting, I can allow posting, I can allow budgeting, and then I have account type. Okay. And then whether I should restrict manual JV. Okay, so these are the options that we have. So this constructs me the complete chart of account structure as a whole. Okay, so the reason why we have this option is that to have the better data entry. Okay, so here if you see, so since I have added a value for BSP01, I'm able to populate it here. And similarly, I have added 4589001 and 001. So this has a better data entry control. Okay, so that's the purpose of having a chart of accounts. So again, we will discuss more about it when we have the system with us. Okay, so for now, I'm just giving the high level information.
Okay. This value set, what you said, I just missed, I think.
Yeah, value set is nothing but it is an validation basically. So for example, I have dependent and independent. So or I can say none. So none meaning I can enter anything. So here, if you see, if I have given this value set for balancing segment as none, so which means now I have given 0 1. So probably tomorrow I can give 0 2. So day after tomorrow, probably I can give 001 also. So there is no restriction for none. So now I have other two, that is dependent and independent. Independent is something that I have a master, that is chart of account value. So unless I add a value there, I'll not be able to populate the value here in the company segment when I'm creating a journal entry. So this is independent, which is not depending on any other segment. So whereas we have another validation called dependent. So dependent is nothing but this particular segment is depending on something else. Let's say I have account segment and I have sub account segment. So now this sub account segment is dependent on this account. Unless I select this account segment, I will not be able to select the sub account segment. So this is depending on some other segment. So similarly, we have different validation. Even the data can be stored in table. So we have table based value set. So there are different validation that we can perform. And there is also an option wherein I can say, let's say I have parent and child combination. So parent and child combination is nothing but I have a parent value and I have the child value. So let's say I have furniture. Under furniture, I have table, chair, and these things. Okay. So now, whatever the security that I have given for this furniture, so the same security will apply to my child values or not. So that is what we call it as a security, and the validation part is nothing but the dependent or independent. So this gives more control to the data that we are entering in the system. So that is value set. Yeah, fine.
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Arun, like suppose for let's say for segment 3, I disabled allow posting. Okay.
Okay.
So this combination is there, right? 014589001001. This
Yes.
combination won't be posted, right? If I disable allow posting.
Sorry, your voice is a bit slow. Can you repeat one?
Yeah, yeah. Suppose let's say for segment 3 value, I disabled the allow posting.
Okay.
So this account combination won't be posted, right?
Yeah, it won't be posted.
Okay. Whatever the segment 3 value is there in the combination, all those combinations won't be posted.
Yeah, correct. Because we need to have all the combinations. So we call it as an, so this might be an individual value 01001489, but we have an thing called account combination. So unless we have this account combination in place, we will not be able to post this JV.
Okay. So even if we disable for one segment, it won't post.
Yeah, it won't allow.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other question or we'll move on?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I have. Here. So I'll be sharing this. So maybe you can have a look at it. Okay, so these are the validations that I was talking. So that is independent, dependent, and the values and these things. Okay, so then we have this option called manage structure and structure instances. Okay, so then we have deploy. So deploy is nothing but after we create our structure, so probably we can validate it. So that's the purpose of deploy. And here, if you see, we have manage structure and we have structure instances. So when we are attaching structure to the ledger, so we will be attaching the structure instances. We will not be able to attach the structure directly. So here, the reason why we have structure and structure instance is that, so let's say I have defined and structure, let's say 8 segment I have defined it. So now for the another ledger, I wanted to use only 4 or 6 segment. I don't want to use the other 2 segment. Probably that 2 segment will be used for different ledger. So for this, we don't have to create a new structure. So we can utilize the same structure with the new instance. So that's the purpose of having the structure instance. Okay. So it's nothing but whatever the segment structure that we have created, the same will be populated in the instance as well. So we will just enable whether I wanted to use this segment or not. And then we will deploy this particular section. Okay. So once it is deployed, it will give the status whether there is an any exception or we can proceed with it. So the status will change to green. So this is the segment that we will create. So firstly, we will keep the segment code, and then we have the API name. So API name is system generated. Okay, so where we will use this is that let's say I have an integration that I wanted to connect with different system. So now, if I want to integrate with that, so if I can use an kind of an key value, I can integrate with it. So this is the key value that I can use it there. That is API. And the others are understandable. That is sequence, display, and this thing. So the value set that we have created, we will just attach it here. Okay. And then we have the primary balancing segment. So labels are nothing but the qualifiers. So based on these labels, this segment will work. So if I have created or named this as a company, and I have given as an natural account. So what will happen is that this will act as a natural account segment. So system will understand this particular purpose through labels.
Arun, like primary balancing segment, secondary balancing segment, we assign it first only segment 1, right?
No, we can assign only one segment. So probably let's say I have a company as a primary balancing segment, and I'll be using for AGS the projects. Projects I'm using as a secondary segment. So I will assign secondary balancing segment to project segment so that I can use it with.
You are saying like segment 1 will if you give segment for segment 1, I have given primary balancing segment. Okay.
Okay.
So for segment 2, I can't give secondary balancing segment, right? Or we can give.
No, we cannot assign twice the same
Okay,
segment.
okay.
We can assign only one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It answered your question.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the structure instance. So as I said, we'll be attaching the structure instance to the ledger. Okay. So now I have the same naming convention and these things created here. And then here, if you see, I have the structure. So whatever the structure that I have selected here, so the segments, whatever I have created under the structure, it will be populated here. So all I'll do is that I'll enable whether this is required or not. So if I have selected as an required, so this segment will appear while I'm loading the values and also while I'm entering the data in the system. Okay. So this is how we will enable this as an requirement. Okay. And also you can select this value called BI enable. So BI enabled is for the reporting purpose. So when we talk about report, we have financial report, it is FRS, and apart from financial report, so we have OTBA report and BI reports as well. So if I want to use it in BI reports, I can enable this option called BI enable. Okay. Okay, so this is a manual way of entering the values. So apart from the manual way, so we have FPGA template. So probably I'll be showing that in the next class. So now what I'm showing is that the manual entry, like this is understandable. Basically, based on the label that is qualified that we have given there. So we will have the values populated here. So since this is an balancing segment value, so we will see only the allow posting and allow budget. So we can say either it is yes or no. And summary is for the parent account. Unless it is parent account, we will not enable this summary account. Okay. Yeah. So once these things are done, so we will say deploy. So after deployment, so we will see this green checkbox. Okay. And then we have an option called tree structure. So tree structure is basically to create the parent and child combination. So wherein we have the tree and then we have the three versions. So based on the three versions, basically we will track it. So in EBS, it is nothing but account hierarchies. So with the account hierarchies, we will have the parent and child structure established. So similarly, we have a tier called tree.
What is the use case of this tree structure?
Can you repeat one?
What is the use case of this tree structure?
Yeah, so for tree structure, let's say I wanted to have accounts to be classified as an based on the in this case I'm taking the same case. Okay, so I'm trying to select based on a particular bucket. So now whatever the accounts that I have created, so this will fall under this particular bucket. So meaning if I want to um, let's say I want to create a bucket called Chennai or Hyderabad. So under this bucket, probably I wanted to maintain a particular accounting hierarchy, and probably under London, I wanted to have a particular hierarchy. So based on that, I can select a node, and with the help of node, I can manage the account, that is parent and child combination. So here, parent and child combination, we can extend till the sixth level. That is, parent one will have a child, and this child will have another child. So similarly, to the sixth level, we can have. Basically, it's parent and child combination. So that is tree and root, we'll say.
Okay.
So Arun, we'll see this one of the example when your systems
Yes,
like
yes,
when you can see, right? Huh?
yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
That's what in screenshot I'll not be able to explain more. So I can
Correct.
show.
No, it will be more practical oriented because when we'll do the any of this chart of accounts or this parent and child, this one of the example will probably clear all those things.
Yeah, yes, yes. I'll be showing the example. Okay, so that's what this probably I will talk about in after. Okay, so that's all about the four C's. And after that, probably we'll create the other uh, uh, elements of the ledger, that is legal entity, ledger creation, and this thing. Because once this four C's are in place, so we will create the legal entity and ledger. And then once these ledger configurations are done, so we are good to go with the transactions and other parts. Okay. Okay, so as a part of structure, so we will define it whether we wanted to have four ledger, and then under that particular ledger, so how many legal entities that we wanted to have. So legal entity is nothing but the legal registered address of the company. So how we wanted to have it. Okay, so for India scenario, basically you will have one legal entity, and it also based on the taxation units that so we, for instance, if you look at India, so we will have one legal entity because in GST regime we have created one legal entity, and under regime of US or California, so we might have different taxation points. So we will not be able to have the same legal entity or one legal entity. Okay, so it differs. So based on the requirement, so we will create those legal entities, and this is the place that we will create it. Basically, this is basic information that we have captured, the address and the other information. But usually, if you see, so we have a lot of information that we can capture. That is the registered. So when it is registered and the register number, PAN, and all those information we can capture. So here, if you see, we are capturing the PAN number and these things because we have selected based on the Indian operation. So whatever the country that I select, so based on that, I'll have the registration information populated accordingly. Okay. Yeah. So after this, I have the ledger creation. So ledger, whatever the four C's that we created, so we will attach it here. That is currency, chart of account, accounting calendar, and the method that we will choose. That is standard approach. And then we have a few options that we will specify that how this ledger should work basically. Okay. So that we will specify it here. So first thing is that we will give the first open period and these options, and then we will give the retained earnings. So this is mandatory. So the retained earnings account should be defined in the COA value, and that should be given. Okay. And then we will have to assign the legal entities to the ledger. So after assigning the legal entities, we will have to assign the balancing segment value. So the balancing segment value can be assigned either to the legal entities or the ledger. So, so ledger will be assigned when I have one legal entity. Maybe if I have multiple legal entities, then I will assign this balancing segment value to the legal entity. Okay. So once these details are done, so after we submit this, a cube will be generated. So here, what exactly is a cube, or why do we use this cube? Is that this will be used in the financial reporting. Meaning, let's say I have created this one cube. So this cube will stay as an. I mean, this will get refreshed, but this cube will not change. There is a cube name, and if I want to refresh, there is an issue with my cube. So I'll have to submit a program, that is submit a new process. So this will allow me to refresh the cube balance cubes, and it will make give the current balances. Because whatever the reporting, financial reporting that I'm creating, so that is based on the balance cubes that I have created here. Because there the database value itself is a balance cube. Okay, so that's why we are creating this cube, and this eases the reporting purposes. That is, FRS will make easy. That is, we have multiple point of view and this thing. So it will help us in terms of reporting. Okay, so that's the purpose. So when we complete this ledger configuration, system will automatically submit this program that is create balance cube. So for each ledger, there is an balance cube that is created. Okay.
Arun, what is exactly the cube is?
Yeah. So in a traditional database, if you see, so we have all information stored as an rows and columns. But when we talk about the S-based database, so it is always stored as an cubes. So cubes is nothing but the multi-dimension data that is stored in the database. So let's say I store, so I have different segments, company, account, and department. So now this will form as a multi-cube inside this particular cube. So now this will give me data in such a way that I can query in either of the form, either let's say company as an value, or so this is basically drag and drop kind of an format. And probably I can show in the system. I mean, I'm not sure how I can
Okay.
put up this. Maybe I'll show in
So,
the system and I can explain you better. Fine.
so okay,
Yeah.
sure, sure. No issue.
Yeah.
And S-based database means Fusion database.
Yeah. No, no. See, the database is different. So this is used only for the purpose of financial reporting. So still we have the same Oracle database that is PLSQL based. Okay. So that is used to store the transactions, and this S-based database is used only to store the accounting information. So whatever the information that we are sending to general ledger module, so that will be stored in the S-based database. But the other transaction data like the payment, the invoice details, all those things will be stored still in the Fusion database, so that we can use it through OTBS. So this cubes are only for the accounting information.
Okay. So S-based means it will store only the journals data.
Yeah, correct.
And I heard one term, like restarting the cube. What does it mean actually?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Refreshing the queue, meaning there isn't any data issue. So we run this program to restate it.
Right.
Basically, it is nothing but the process of restarting,
Okay.
because there will be some issue wherein the balances will not be correct, and there might be issue in retrieving it. So for that, earlier we had this program called LDAP. So LDAP will do that particular process. But now the LDAP has been taken in the latest release. That is, after 20 itself, it has been taken. So we will run this program called to refresh the cubes. I mean balance cubes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Fine.
Uh, Yeah, so once this is done, so it's only assigning the roles and these things. So once it is done, so I think it's almost less than 1 minute. So you want to extend this, or will be closing, or how do you want to do it?
Prasis, you want to continue? Hello, Prasis.
Yeah, hello.
You want to continue? You have time, another 45 minutes or so.